Mainline churches have long been late adopters of technology. Case in point, the bicycle. Many ministers were not pleased when bicycles came onto the scene in the late 19th century, calling them, quote, the work of the devil. Clergy were pretty concerned about this new contraption desecrating the Sabbath, as it seems a lot of folks were foregoing Sunday services for bicycle sport. We all know that the church survived the great bicycle debauchery of the late 19th century and, well, lived to ride another day. Yet I can't help but see some similarities in how clergy responded to the invention of the bicycle then and the introduction of digital worship now. I'm sure I am not the only one who has heard the phrase, well, this is just how we've always done it, or some variation thereof. The church, mainline Protestants in particular, are very set in our ways and have a soft spot for tradition. Don't get me wrong, I love tradition and it is wonderful. However, when tradition stands in the way of sharing the gospel, we have a problem. And I think maybe we've had a problem for several decades now. The evangelical church for me is, well, troublesome in many ways. I grew up as a Pentecostal pastor's daughter. From birth till my mid-20s, I was enveloped in evangelical church. However, one lesson that I do think that maybe mainline denominations could learn from our evangelical siblings is to be early adopters of technology. Leveraging mass media provided them a unique opportunity to affect cultural change for the past 70 years. My example is televangelists. They burst onto the scene in the 1950s, harnessing the power and influence of the media with their charisma and charm and, shall we say, questionable fashion sense. Evangelicals were quick to harness the power of digital media and spread their flavor of the gospel. And they've continued to be early adopters even throughout the 20th and 21st centuries. They were the first to begin to utilize websites, social media, and live stream their services. Meanwhile, most mainline denominations continue to do things as we had forever. Instead of harnessing the latest technology to advocate for love and justice and peace, we continue to demand that people come to our buildings on our terms at our prescribed times. We turned our noses to cultural changes and we held tight to the way we've always done it until we didn't have a choice but to change during the pandemic. Now, things are beginning to open back up and many churches are beginning to gather again in person. Thanks be to God. And just when we thought that there was light at the end of the proverbial pandemic tunnel, we get news that some members of our communities want digital gatherings as part of the new normal moving forward. While it's true, most churchgoers don't prefer digital gatherings, they are interested in having both physical and digital options. According to the latest Barna research, a third, 35% of folks claim a preference for both physical and digital gatherings. I know, this is not welcome news to pastors who are exhausted from preaching to empty sanctuaries and fighting with technology for the past year. Online is here to stay, and instead of seeing it as an insurmountable challenge that we have to overcome, or maybe even grieving the loss of the way that we've always done it, I want to invite you to consider this opportunity, this gift that this time has given us. You see, the good news is we don't have to do it that way anymore. In fact, we haven't been doing it that way for, well over a year now. So why don't we just seize this amazing opportunity? Let's be innovators and early adapters, late adapters. Let's just have some fun and dive into digital.